I'm sorry. We started the live at 9:30. If you want you didn't miss anything really except for cleansing the space. So if you wanted to catch the replay, you can catch the full replay on the Instagram channel at consciouscreations.live on Instagram. But thank you so much, y'all, for tuning in. I appreciate that. So let's talk about it. So the throat chakra, right? The throat. So the throat chakra is also called the I'm laughing because of the my pronunciation of it, the Vishuddha, Vishuddha, the Vishuddha chakra. And when you think of this chakra, because remember we started at the Muladhara, or the root chakra, or the base chakra, and so we've been working our way up the spine, and so now we are here at the throat. And so if you think about it, all along the way, what we've been doing is unlocking at each level, right? Unlocking and talking about some of the blockages that can occur at each level of the chakras, so that as we're going along this journey, and as you all are following along, you are unlocking levels and layers of yourself. If you are new to this chakra journey, this healing journey, this wellness journey, if you're new to this, then I want to make sure that you know how to activate yourself and to turn yourself on, right? So we start at the base chakra, that deals with the essence primarily of survival, right? And so the reason it's so important that the base chakra is unlocked and unblocked is because most of the things that we see in the external reality is in part due to systems and programs controlling and harvesting the energy of the base chakra or the root chakra. Because how you know this to be true is that you see that most people are trapped in survival mode, right? So most people cannot get past survival. Like every day is just like survival. And I will say this again, because that level of your energy is very animalistic and primal, right? That is not, you're not made to live in that space, right? It is a part, it is the foundation that you build upon, that you build and you unlock those other chakras, because it's a part of maturity. Because at every, and I, don't quote me on the ages. I'm not even going to attempt to tell you what the ages are, but basically how it happens is from birth through maturation, you are unlocking these aspects of yourself, right, along the way. And so at a certain point in your life, I think it's maybe 0 to 3 or something like that, the base chakra is formed and it begins to unlock, right? And then from there you have the sacral chakra, which is the seat of creativity and reproduction, and also it's actually associated with the throat chakra, because the sacral chakra corresponds with the color orange, and it also corresponds and it also is it also corresponds, and when I say corresponds, I want to be clear on what I mean. It is associated with the throat chakra for reasons that we'll talk about, because the sacral chakra is governed by Scorpio energy, right? And the throat chakra is governed by Taurus energy, right? And so these are what are called sister signs, right? They are directly on the, like if you think about the 12 zodiacs on a pie, right? Directly across from each other would be Scorpio and Taurus, right? So they are sister signs, and so they're opposites of the same type of energy. They share very similar commonalities, but on a different level. And I trust that makes sense. And so it's important that all along the way that these chakras are balanced, because as above, so below, right? So you want to make sure that there's any imbalances within are harmonized, so that as you get to the heart, right? Like we talked about last week, when you talk about the heart, that overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? And so if you are already starting, you want, let me just say it this way. Let me say it in the affirmative, right? You want to make sure that the energy that you're starting with is a healthy, healed energy. Because if not, everything that you create along the way is going to be built on this fractured foundation or this unstable foundation, right? So, for example, if we talked about, when we talked about the sacral chakra energy, we talked about some of the things that can create imbalances in the sacral chakra, like abuse to the womb, right? Like sexual trauma, not knowing your self-worth, like a lot, you know what I mean? Things like that. Those are the things that can create and show that there is an imbalance in the sacral chakra. Now, imagine that the sacral chakra is imbalanced, and now we're talking about going above that, we're talking about the solar plexus, right? That's that seat of your willpower. So now, if your sacral chakra and the place that you create from is not balanced, now if you're and then we talk about the solar plexus. Now if your willpower is also not balanced, think about the havoc that can wreak in your life. Meaning someone else now has the willpower, or you can be easily manipulated out of your own energy, out of your creativity. And in fact, that's actually what's been building, and that is what has created this false matrix system that we see externally, right? It's built off of broken foundations and and basically miscreants, right? Miscreation. And it's in part because we speak and we create reality, but many of us are not conscious creators, in that many are not conscious creators in that you're not aware that you're actually conscious, you're actually creating all the time, you're just not conscious of it. Do you get what I'm saying? And so imagine if someone else has the keys to your car, and they can drive your car and do whatever it is that they want to do with your car. You see what I'm saying? And that's the way it is when the chakras are out of balance, particularly the lower chakras. Because if we're talking about the solar plexus, the willpower, your creativity, your stability, if those things are off or controlled by someone else, now when you get to the heart, right? The heart is that bridge. We talked about the heart being the bridge between the upper and the lower kingdoms, or between heaven and earth, right? And so this is how society can use, right, the energy of the heart, right? Where the heart, we're talking about the way that we love, the way that we express love. But imagine if that also is not balanced, right? What that actually looks like, this broken-hearted energy, or this otherwise imbalance in the heart energy, and not knowing how to give and to receive love, and the havoc that wreaks. Do you see what I'm saying? So all of these things, when they are harmonized and in balance, can create a very, very beautiful life. Can create, and that's what it should be. And this is why I like having these conversations and really talking about these things, because life should be beautiful. Life should be beautiful. And I want everyone to be able to, well, I want y'all to experience, I want y'all to have a beautiful life. I want y'all to have a beautiful experience. And so that requires you taking back your own power, taking back your power, taking back your power from any places, spaces, peoples, organizations, governments, whatever the case may be, that you have knowingly or unknowingly given your power away to. And so when we talk about the heart, now we're talking about the overflow. From the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so when your heart and everything else is in balance, you get this flow, right? You get this beautiful flow of energy that flows from your throat chakra, where you're able to consciously create, where you're able to affirm that you speak and create your reality, right? And you can, where you speak and create your reality, okay? And so this is where we are, this is where we find ourselves this evening, where we are speaking and creating our reality. Now, When you think about that, though, one of the things that I want to draw your attention to off top is if you've ever been to an ear, nose, and throat doctor called ENTs, right? So think about the throat chakra as the ENT of the body, right? Because those are the sense organs that are all operated by that energy. The ears, what you're hearing, your nose, what you're smelling, and your throat, what you're tasting, and also what you're speaking. So all of these orifices, all of these portals are portals because they have the ability to give and to receive information, right? So all of these portals are receptive to the energy of the throat chakra. So it is also, and I'm going to read a little bit here too, so I just want y'all to know that. So because I want to make sure that I give you all the information. So the fifth chakra gland is also the thyroid. So the thyroid is like this little, it looks like a little butterfly, like in your throat. So, and I'm hearing Tootsie Roll in my head. So anyway, so it is the thyroid, and the thyroid is rich in blood vessels and also nerves. Now the thing about the thyroid, so if you know anyone that has had an underactive, overactive, whatever, any sort of thyroid conditions, you know that most of the time they have an iodine deficiency, right? Because that is one of the minerals or the nutrients that the throat, that you need for your throat chakra. So it influences your metabolism. So if you notice yourself gaining weight, losing weight, right, you may have an imbalance actually in your throat chakra, and we'll talk about that. Growth, development, and bodily temperature. So now, this was something that I learned that was new to me, that some of the minerals that the body requires to convert what's called the T3 thyroid hormone to what's called the T4 thyroid hormone is magnesium, calcium, and iodine. So we talked about the iodine deficiency. Now, high stress levels can actually prevent the conversion from happening from T3 to T4. And most medical folks only test for T4. So they're missing a lot of times in the testing process those precursors, right? So if you are experiencing a thyroid condition, or your medical provider or whomever, right, suspects that you may have a thyroid condition, you want to look at your energy levels, right? Look at your, whether or not your hair is growing. Look at things like that, because it deals with growth and development. If you're talking about a younger child that is still in the growing process, look at those things, and that'll help you to kind of narrow down what's happening. Now, magnesium, calcium, and iodine, these are all things that you can get in your diet, right? So magnesium, you guys know that I always talk about the magnesium flakes. You can actually do baths in magnesium. If you go to our website, what we have is we have a full moon goddess bath blend, and it doesn't just have to be for the goddesses, right? But it's a blend of magnesium flakes, salt. So because it's two separate ones. So for the full moon, it's Hawaiian black lava salt. It is Epsom salt, and it is also magnesium flakes, and also different different oils and oranges and things like that. That is for the soak that you can use for the full moon, because it's more detoxifying. Both of them are detoxifying, but the black salt gives the full moon a different level of detoxification due to the heightened level of parasites and spiritual energies and things like that tend to manifest around the full moon. Now, for the new moon, the way that you can, what we offer in terms of magnesium is we have the new moon bath salts that you can do. Now that one has Epsom salt, magnesium, and that one has pink Himalayan sea salt. Now, both of them, like I said, they have that detoxification effect, but when choosing between the two, the more potent version, the more potent concoction, if you may, is going to be that for the full moon. Okay, but you can get. You'll see Oreo. You'll see Oreo in the video. Anyway, so you can get calcium, not necessarily through milk. All of these magnesium, calcium, iodine, you can get those through food such as sea vegetables, right? One great source of both magnesium and iodine, if I'm not mistaken, yes, that is correct. That is correct. Is sorry, y'all. It's live. So come Oreo. One of the things that you can do is you can do spirulina capsules, right? So spirulina is that dark blue-green algae that is in the ocean. Now that is excellent for those that have thyroid conditions. It is excellent for those that have thyroid conditions. It is excellent, right? So you can get yourself some spirulina capsules, and I say spirulina because that's how it looks to me. But either way, I look at spirulina as a very spiritual essence because it's in the name, right? So, and that really deals a lot with that feminine energy because it is birthed from water, right? It grows in the water. And so when we're talking about that thyroid energy, because again, like I said, remember, we are talking about, for Scorpio energy, we're talking about the element of water. The element of water, and then the Taurus being the element of earth, right? And so when looking at magnesium and looking at the thyroid, I look at it more so as something that really resonates with feminine energy, right? Solely because of what actually helps to balance the energy. And that is those sea vegetables. So you can do sea moss, right? You can do just iodine, right? I wouldn't necessarily say like an iodized salt, right? I don't really do the iodized salt. But if anything, use these sea vegetables to help you. So kelp. You can also get sources of these nutrients from the dark green vegetables. So like kale, collard greens, spinach, things like that. These are great sources, particularly of magnesium. The reason magnesium is so important is because it helps to balance that magnetic energy within your body. And come on, y'all, we know that we always talk about balancing the feminine energy, right? And really walking in your feminine energy. Well, the issue is a lot of times because the standard American diet is not rich. It's not rich. It's a very poor diet, right? So to make sure that your body and your diet is actually rich in the nutrients that your cells need for thriving, you want to look at these things that are nutrient dense and nutrient rich. Now, one of the other things that I'm gonna mention to you all is something I mentioned before, which is a tea. Before I thought about that before my tea gets cold. Is a tea blend that we do that's called Divine Feminine Rising. The reason I recommend that, if you are having any sort of issues where you need nutrients, is because it is in fact nutrient rich, right? It is made with alfalfa, oat straw, and dandelion, to name 3 of the herbs that are in it. It's a 7 herb blend. But the reason I'm mentioning those in particular is because those herbs come in, they're very potent, and so they come in and they give the body the nutrients that they need. So oat straw and alfalfa are both what they feed to livestock, right? And so that is to help them to grow. So if your body is substantially depleted of nutrients and things like that, or if you are just coming off of a cleanse or anything like that, this is a way to introduce herbs into your body at a high level to make sure that you have the nutrients that you need. Because what happens is, if you think about it like the earth, right? And I've talked about this before, but if you think about it like the earth, you want to make sure that the earth has the fertilizer that it needs, or that your garden has the fertilizer that it needs in order to, you know, when you put the seeds in the soil, to make sure that your seeds can actually grow because it's being planted on fertile soil, right? So, um, these are some of the sources that you can get for the magnesium, calcium, and iodine. And now calcium is going to be good because calcium actually works with the electric currents in the nerves. Because as we talked about before, it's a full, your body is an electromagnetic, on a electromagnetic spectrum. Um, and so you have that electrical energy running through your body, but you also have magnetic energy running through your body. And it takes both, right, to be powerful. Um, so, um, I'm sorry, I'm distracted because Oreo has decided that he wants to join the live. You want to join the live, Boobies? Okay. Can you go? Can you go take your? Can you take your snacks? Hmm? Can you take your snacks and sit down? So anyway, so that's going to help with electricity in your body, because if your body is short on electricity, you think about it like a live wire, and I think I've used that example before, but like a live wire on the ground where it's just the energy is just kind of scattered, right? It's a live wire, and so that when that happens, your body starts sending out electrical signals without direction, right? And so this is another reason why really tapping into this energy is so important, because you want to make sure that everything is communicating the way that it needs to. Shout out to Mercury, shout out to the air signs that really deal with communication. Okay. Now, some of the things that can actually block the throat chakra, as you can imagine, is a failure to speak, or a failure to speak your truth. And if you are following my channel, chances are you follow things like tarot, astrology, things like that. Now, Aquarius. We are in, the sun right now is in Aquarius, the moon is in Taurus, right? So the Aquarius is an air sign. Despite it being a water bearer, Aquarius is an air sign. And so that is the energy that is encapsulating reality at this point, right? Is that Aquarian air energy. So this is absolutely a time to make sure that you are walking in your authenticity, right? So making sure that you are not giving more energy to external narratives that you are not trying to create. If you're not trying to create and or live in that reality, be mindful of the energy that you are giving, because you are a powerful creator and manifester, right? This is why your energy was in fact harvested by these external systems and used, because just because you're not aware of your power doesn't mean that everyone is unaware of your power and of who you are and how you wield your energy, right? So you want to make sure that you are being authentic, speaking your truth, standing on all 10, as they say, right, for what it is that you believe in. Because now is the time where you want to make sure that whatever it is that your mission is here, whatever your mission, your purpose, whatever it may be, that you are walking in that, right? So if it's to teach, teach. If it's to speak, speak. If it's to speak and teach, do both. Whatever it may be, you do that, right? You do whatever your soul's blueprint is calling you to do, and watch how amazingly satisfied you will be and wealthy as a result, because abundance is your birthright. And this is just truth. Abundance is your birthright. So making sure that you're speaking up for yourself. Now, one of the ways that this can happen, like I said before, was when the other chakras are damaged, right? So, a lot of times how this happens is, say for instance, when you're younger, you may have, if you experienced any sort of trauma when you're younger and you weren't allowed to speak about it, that can create, you living inauthentically, right? And needing to heal from some things, needing to heal from that, healing from having your voice silenced, right? So that's one of the things that can absolutely block your throat chakra is, that fear of speaking up, that fear of being authentic, that fear of being who you are, right? Certain things like a lack of self-knowledge. So if you're not comfortable in who you are because you believe that you don't know who you are, that's something that can block your throat chakra. So at the same time, what can unblock your throat chakra is learning more about who you are, learning who you are authentically. So this is why if this is the first time, if this is the first live that you've been on or the first replay that you've done on this particular subject, on the chakras, you want to make sure that you go look at the other ones so that you can have a better picture of what it is that we're talking about, because you're unlocking yourself layer by layer, level by level. Okay? So mouthing, lack of self. Okay. Gossiping, right? Speaking falsehoods, emotional congestion. Like when I read that, I was like, emotional congestion. That's powerful, right? Because so many people, and I've been there, y'all. So many people have emotional congestion. And again, it goes back to what I just mentioned. So if you've had a situation where you didn't feel like you were free to speak, right? That's one of the things that happens very often. And we see in this, in this false system, it's a way of controlling and dominating people and quite frankly, bullying people into being silent about things that matter, bullying people into being silent about experiences they've had, bullying people, right? By, using the threat of quote unquote power and force and all of these things to intimidate people. That is a way to actually stop and block the throat chakra, to stop the persons, to stop you from actually speaking your truth and thereby creating your reality versus the reality that someone else may want you to create for them. Now, criticism of self and of others. Now, I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I talked about doing your mirror magic. This is another place where that comes in. So when we talk about self-affirmation, self-care, self-love, this is where this comes in, because the energy of Taurus really deals with the value, right? What you value, how your sense of self-worth. It's actually ruled by the planet Venus, the planet of love and beauty and all things awesome. So when you are able to look in the mirror and look at yourself and affirm your own greatness without the need for external validation, that's a very powerful place. And that's where you want to get to. So continue doing your mirror magic, making sure that you are in the mirror and reminding yourself of how amazing you are. This is one of the reasons why the products at Conscious Creations are consciously created, right, with you in mind. And most of them are the names of the products are affirmations, so that when you use it, you can actually affirm your reality, right? So the throat chakra oil, like I said before, is called I Speak and Create My Reality, right? And so these are some of the things that you can say to yourself in the mirror. Some of the other things that you can say to yourself is how amazing and beautiful and powerful and talented, right, you are. That your self-worth is inherent. Your value is inherent. Your revenue is internal. You hear me? My revenue is internal, right? So these are some of the things that when you look in the mirror, you can affirm to yourself for yourself, okay? Because that's what's really going to help you to unblock that energy. To not, you know what I mean? Because so many times, if you are not confident in who you are, society will tell you who you are, right? And chances are it's not actually who you are, but You know what I mean? But you want to be able to make sure that you are seeing yourself clearly. And so to do that, you want to make sure that you are affirming your sense of self-worth, and really speaking that reality. And what that's going to do is unblock any blockages, right? Now again, everything in balance, y'all. Everything in balance. So, but that's going to help you to unblock that energy. One of the other things, my loves, is knowing when to be silent. Silencio, right? Knowing when to be silent. That is one of the other ways to balance your throat chakra. So say, for instance, you are someone who feels the need to overly explain yourself to people for whatever reason. Most of the time, that is also an imbalance, because it's still too much, right? So we're talking about harmony and balance, okay? So sometimes it really is about learning when to say nothing. To say nothing, right? That is also a way to balance. So one of the things that I've been working on is taking time to specifically and strategically not answer my phone, not engage on social media, not respond to emails, but to really sit in silence, because I have to talk so much for what it is that I do, that sometimes what happens is I find myself, right, needing to reel that back in, right, needing to reel it in and really just sit in silence. And so these are just some of the things that I've learned that helps along the way to also free that emotional congestion, because it can look, and it can look in a couple different ways. Okay. So when we're talking about this throat chakra energy, remember, we're also talking about communication, right? Communication, because the element of air or ether or sky, now we're talking about that unseen force that, we're talking about communication, the ability to communicate. And most of the time, when you think about it, you're able to communicate using your voice, but you're also able to communicate using your hands. You're also able to communicate using your eyes. You're also, you know what I mean? Like you are able to use different senses for communication, but the energy of communication is mercurial in nature, right? So we're talking about that energy of Mercury. That's the very fast-moving, fast-paced energy, because we're talking about your nervous system and the neurons in your body that fire off these chemicals and fire off these signals from your brain through your nervous system to make sure that you're again, the electrical current, right? And then the magnesium, or that magnetic energy that you need to attract to you. You understand? So that is that you want to make sure that all of these things are working together. And how you do that is to make sure that you are clearing up blockages, that you are healing past traumas, that you are really giving and feeding yourself what works for you, right? So for example, like I said, if you are a, someone that, like me, if you are someone that has to talk all the time, getting into a place where you can really sit in silence, right? And really valuing that silence. You see what I'm saying? And so these are just some ways that you can bring your own energy back into balance. Wear blue, right? The blue is the color of communication. So particularly, like I said, like the sky. So sky blue, wearing sky blue in order to tune in to your throat chakra. Some of the crystals that you may be able to, some of the crystals that you can do if you are into crystals and you want to use the energy of earth, which is that Taurus energy. If you want to, and if you want to accentuate your Taurus field, right? and work more with that energy. You can do things like lapis lazuli is a great crystal for that. Blue calcite, right? Also clear quartz, because we're talking about clear communication, not just any communication, but clarity of communication, clarity of thought, clarity of speech, right? Unfettered, unhindered, but truthful, accurate, clear communication, right? So these are some of the things that you can do. If you want to pick up these crystals, you can also do that on our website at www.consciouscreations.live. Let me see what else, y'all. Oh, now this was actually, hey Shasha, this was actually a quote. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate that. This was actually a quote that I read that I thought was very, very important when it comes to the throat chakra. And it says, we give voice to our thoughts and respond to the communication of others, forging the bonds of union. And I love that, because when I think about the word communication, I broke it down: commune, communal, common unity, and community. All of that from the word communication. So when we talk about building communication, building community and building bonds and having stronger bonds and relationships with people, we all know that it requires communication. It requires communication. It requires communication. And this is why healing this energy is so important, because so many of us have been raised and reared and brought up on things like falsehoods and outright lies and mischaracterizations and all of these things. And so that can create a resistance, right, in your energy to want to be open, to receive from someone else communication, from wanting to receive, love from your heart chakra, from wanting to receive, that happy, joyous energy from someone else, from that sacral energy, from that solar plexus energy, from wanting to create or co-create with someone with that sacral chakra energy, from wanting to build and have a stable foundation and get rooted with someone from that root chakra energy. Do you see what I'm saying? So at every single level, if we're not healing at every level, it can create instability and imbalance in the entire system, right? And so this is why it's so key to be able to really work with these things. Now, some of the things, I know I've introduced you all to a lot of different tools that you can use to help you in this space. One of the most powerful things that you can do in any of these energies is, like I always say, to breathe deeply. To breathe deeply. Now, I was at the gym today. That's why I was telling you I had to do this. I had to join y'all late because I needed to work out some energy. But one of the things that I realized is when you talk about like proper breathing, I was thinking about that today because I challenged myself in that area, in that I'm sitting in the sauna and getting my sweat on, getting my detox on like we do, right? And then I'm doing my deep breathing, but I'm instead of blowing out, right? I'm actually just breathing in and exhaling within my own body, right? And one of the things that I realized is that is not as powerful as breathing inhaling very deeply and then exhaling through your mouth, right? Because that, when I did a full cycle of that, meaning that I took some time to breathe deeply and then exhale, like that was very clearing. And so I realized I was just doing the inhaling, but then exhaling within my own body. I'm just simply recycling energy, right? And so Just in case, y'all do that, I wanted to just let you know that this is one of the things that I realized just today. And the funny thing is, I've known that, but I experienced it in real time right before this live. So I wanted to make sure I put that out there so that, so that can help you as well. But anytime you are feeling and having any kind of experience where you're having really deep, intense emotions, Wusa, right? Wusa. Inhale very deeply, as deep as you can, and exhale. Now, what that does is it literally opens up the underworld, right? Which is the lower chakra energy, because your emotions is energy in motion. And most of the time for women, we hold our emotions in our womb, because that womb space is water energy, and water holds emotion. Water holds energy, right? Your body is 70% water. This is why I always talk about speaking life over yourself, doing your mirror magic and speaking what you want to yourself in the mirror, because your cells are listening. Your cells, your ancestors, all of this is within you, right? All of this is within you. Your highest self, your God, your goddess, it's all within you, right? And so, yes, God is always listening. And so you want to speak words of affirmation and words of power and words of praise. If anything is excellent and praiseworthy, think about such things, right? These are the words that you want to speak over yourself, or, similar. So that as you are unlocking all of these energies, you're not only healing trauma and healing whatever in real time, but baby, that you are also unlocking your magical power, that you are unlocking your power. Because it's the trauma that stops so much, because we get frozen in that place of trauma, and we loop it and live it over and over and over, because we give so much repetition and thought and energy. Our thoughts are energy. So you give so much thought and power to the same situations again and again and again. And I know, because it was a challenge for me to really work through that energy in myself. So I get it. But these are some of the ways that you can really, really, really tune in to that inner core of who you are and awaken that powerful place within you that has always been there. You just needed to be reminded of that. So I hope that helps somebody out there. I know that it will. I know that it will reach the people that it needs to reach. And thank you so much for tuning in. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for everybody that joins the lives. Thank you so much. As always, if you have anything to add, this is always a place for conversation. So if you have anything to add, please do so. And for those of you who are catching this on the replay, and if you've made it this far, listen, you a G. And I'm grateful for you. Any products, tools, things you need, go to the website, www.consciouscreations.live. If you simply want to donate to the platform, you can do that too. You can do that via Cash App at Maat Just Us, MAATJUSTUS. You can do that as well, so that we can keep doing what it is that we do. Next week, what we're going to do, we're going to move up to the third eye chakra. So, and so that is being able to see with clarity and wisdom, right? So until next time, next week, 8 o'clock, this week, we did 9:30 today, but we're going to work on getting ready at 8 o'clock this next week. So 8 o'clock, third eye chakra, tune in. Thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all then. Until next time, love yourself well. You deserve it. Thank you, YouTube. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next week.